Hey, what's up, Street Gods? Eric from the Eric Street Photography blog. So, one thing I wanted to talk to you about is I think it's a pretty novel idea. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say this before, but it's this notion of substance marketing. I've been okay. So this. I'm just walking through this idea. So. I guess it's kind of past, but for a while, the notion of content marketing was quite popular. And unfortunately, at this point, when it comes to any sort of digital information, we call it all as content. Content could be photographs, pictures, videos, audios, books, whatever it may be. I hate this word content because whenever I think of content, I think of you see that fake, YouTube McDonald's video of like the chicken nuggets, like that little pink paste that comes out like the toothpaste. I just kind of imagine that as just like content, and it's kind of degrading actually if you think about referring to creators' work as content, because I would rather people just call it artwork, like your artwork, but rather than like, oh, just put out content. It's just like, once again, it's just like kind of putting out like nonsense. But unfortunately, the term has stuck. So whenever people say, oh, just can you produce some content for me, or you're a content creator, and I'm like, no, you're like, that's stupid, right? So I rather prefer this notion of substance. And to me, this is interesting because it means creating things which are substantive, things which have like weight. They're like a substance, they're like something. And I think maybe that might be the best way to become successful, in the sense that as long as you're an individual putting out ideas, words, artwork, things which you consider substantive, it's a good thing. So for example, even in photographs, making photos that have substance, making photos which are either personal, have emotion, soul, whatever it may be, and could captivate your viewer because you kind of create an emotional response out of your subject, your viewer. That's substantive. Even when you think about YouTube videos or blog posts or whatever you want to do to market yourself, you want it to have substance. You want it to be personal, to be relatable. You want it to be impactful. You want it to be interesting, innovative, whatever it may be. And so the notion of creating things and ideas which have substance, I think it's a good one. And so maybe the notion of substance marketing is through the substance, ideas, information, artwork you produce and you put out. Make sure it has substance, because the more substantive the things you create and you share, the more people are going to trust you, the more people are going to rely on you, the more they're going to like you. I think substance, it's interesting too, because I think about like aesthetics, right? There's a lot of people who have certain aesthetic style or some sort of facade, but it lacks substance behind it. So for example, you certainly would not want a necklace which was only gold plated. We know that's not really desirable. We want something that's solid gold all throughout. And so perhaps a lot of people, when they're like fronting or faking or whatever, is that it looks like they're gold and shiny on the outside because you can see the gold on the outside, but actually inside it's hollow. I was actually really shocked to hear that a lot of rappers, when you see them wearing gold chains, they're actually hollow inside. I was pretty amazed. Anyways, so the notion is when you're more substantive, you're legit all throughout. There's no fronting, there's no faking. And regardless of like whether people love you or hate you, as long as you're authentic and you want your true self to be consistent all throughout. So for example, the best compliment I've been given in my life is, wow, Eric, you in real life, you're like the Eric on YouTube. And I'm like, that's amazing, because I don't want to have multiple faces. I want to be the same person. Like even, I like to curse and say things which are inappropriate. If I'm going to act that way in private, I'm going to make sure to be able to say that in front of my mother or in front of Cindy without feeling some sort of shame. And I think this is also another good ethical thing, is that even when you're talking about people behind their back, talk behind their back in a way in which you would be comfortable them overhearing, or like if you were to say it to their face. So generally I don't like to talk poorly upon others, but if I am going to talk poorly on others, I would do it to their own face. But anyways, kind of random thing. So with substance marketing, essentially you're trying to put out information, photographs, things which show your substance, that you are substantive, that your ideas carry weight, your artwork carries weight. And the opposite of substance is like vacuous, emptiness, is shallow, hollow. These are things that we don't really generally associate with being good in people. And what do we appreciate in people? People who are profound, people who are deep, people who have certain weight, who have clout, they have, substance. So once again, just generally in life and stuff like that, think about how you could be more substantive. Think about how you could be more authentic, how you could speak your mind more frankly without censoring yourself. And it doesn't even matter whether you're right or wrong, and these things are all just kind of subjective, but whether you are saying what you really believe in, and whether whenever you're opening up your mind, you're going to say something which has an impact, which is powerful, which is influential. So anyways, this notion I have of substance marketing is just a brand new idea I just kind of came up with today. But yeah, maybe you could study the etymology of the word substance, or think about it from a physics molecular concept. I think substance is a good idea. So whatever you create, just ask yourself, is this going to be substantive or not? Does it carry weight? It's going to be impactful? And the more substantive you can make it, the better. Peace out.